Talk about sticker shock. Just imagine you open your electric bill and it shot up 400%.
Yeah, speaking of power, well, it can happen if you are not careful about how you pick your supplier. Dennis Owens found out firsthand, and he joins us with this story. Dennis.
Well, ladies, the moral of this story, and it's the moral of so many stories, I should have listened to my wife. In the fall, we were shopping our electric. She said, make sure you get a fixed rate, not a variable rate. I was lured in by a deal that was too good to be true, and in the end, it was. Fall, our fixed rate had expired and the rate per kilowatt was creeping up. In October, it was 11.5 cents. The bill was $217. November, just under 11 cents and just under $300 for the month. So I jumped on PAPowerswitch.com. There were 75 options. I chose American Power and Gas. No locked-in contract term, no cancellation fee. Just 6.3 cents a kilowatt hour, but variable. Usage was up in December, but at 6 cents, it was a manageable $375. Then came January. That 6 cents zoomed to 22 cents per kilowatt hour. My bill for 1 month, more than $850.
They get you at the teaser rate, what I like to call a bait and switch. And then, you know, a couple months down the road, they jack the price up on you and they're hoping you're not watching it.
Because it is variable, that means it can change at any time.
Jennifer Coker is with the Public Utility Commission, and she says there's been 150 complaints about outrageous bills this week alone.
You can go out there and talk about variable rates till you're blue in the face, but if someone doesn't understand it and they sign up for it, they're still going to feel wronged.
But variable rates aren't the problem, according to John Dull. Unscrupulous businesses are. Dull is an independent energy consultant. His company's variable rate today is just over 8 cents.
If our company can offer it for a little over 8.4, why can't they offer it for a little over 8.4?
But experts say a fixed rate is safer. You know what you're going to pay. With a variable, companies can legally charge whatever they want and call it market price. I call it a lesson learned. John calls it something else.
You got ripped off. I mean, you're paying a rate, you know, almost 3 times, 22 cents a kilowatt. That's, our current rate right now is like 8.4.
So there are two bottom lines here. Gone are the days when your electric bill was your electric bill. The free market is here, and the free market is not free. In fact, it can be expensive if you don't shop around and if you don't read the fine print. Secondly, just to reiterate, guys, listen to your wives.
The 5 of us are unified in making sure that consumers are protected.
Public Utility Commission announced it will officially investigate sky-high electric bills.
Were they willing to offer any terms, changes, or negotiate with you?
It's gotten hundreds of complaints.
We feel their pain. We recognize as an agency we have to do more. We're going to continue to get out there and work with the suppliers that want to work with us. And let me remind those suppliers here this morning that if those informal complaints go formal, we will not hesitate to revoke your license.
But commissioners caution that high prices aren't necessarily criminal. The market did spike in January, and if customers signed up for a variable rate, they took a risk, they got burned. But the PUC can crack down on deceptive advertising and false promises and push to make companies more clear to consumers about the gamble they're taking.
And we're doing everything we can. We do not control the competitive market pricing. That is not a area where the Commission has regulatory responsibility or authority.
To turn on the light might cost Mary 6 cents a kilowatt hour. It might cost Harry 8 cents a kilowatt hour, and Larry 22 cents a kilowatt hour. Such is life in a deregulated market. It's called the free market, but even the dimmest bulbs know it isn't free.
I think that in a world of deregulation, it certainly serves your best interest to roll up your sleeves a little bit.
Randy Brown wonders what all the fuss is about. He loves deregulation, shops once a year for electricity, always changes companies, always gets a lower price than the previous deal.
Variable, fixed.
But he always goes with the lowest fixed rate. No variable for him.
I want to buy something that I understand what I'm getting and I know what I'm paying for it. So as far as I'm concerned, a variable rate simply is shopping without knowing the prices.
But clearly, many of you feel ripped off. Was it wrongdoing by a company or the wrong choice by customers? The PUC is trying to find out.
If there are bad actors, the commission will respond, and it will be very decisive.
Doug Marcel is the president and CEO of Pennsylvania Gas and Electric. He flew in from Florida to tell lawmakers that his company was also victimized by January's spike in wholesale electricity costs.
We did not price gouge. Price gouging is making a profit on an extreme set of circumstances. We actually lost money. We charged, in some cases, 30, and we were paying 40.
How can a business survive that? I guess long-term you can't.
Long-term, that's not a good business model, obviously.
$2.74.
But PG&E's business model includes cold calling potential customers. Esther Keeney of Dillsburg got one of them last summer.
Oh, I didn't want to go with him. I kept saying no, and he said, "Oh, we can do better for you." So then I did. I went with him, and if I can get some money back, I deserve it.
Esther's 72, on a fixed income, and in a one-bedroom apartment. Her bill last September was just over $20, about normal. Last month, nearly $275.
I hate them. I shouldn't say that, but they took me.
Marcel says PG&E has, on a case-by-case basis, given back more than $2.5 million in rebates. I tell him about Esther.
That's a perfect example of someone we can help.
So at Esther's house, we call customer service.
Your call is important to us.
In less than 3 minutes, Joseph is on the line saying Esther can get a rebate if she agrees to sign up to a fixed-rate plan for 2 years. She reacts immediately.
No, I'm not interested.
Okay. Well, that would be the only way to get a refund for this latest bill.
I tell Joseph who I am and that I was just with the president of the company. He puts me on hold for a few minutes, comes back and says he must end the call, but takes my information. Doug Marcel calls an hour later, saying Joseph didn't understand that there are never strings attached to rebates, and Joseph is now being retrained. Esther then got a call promising a $167 rebate. But while the president did his best to mend fences with lawmakers, he still got work to do with customers like Esther.
No, I don't believe him. I don't. Would you?
And Marcel says PAG&E buys electricity on the wholesale market. That market spiked. His company had to pay the inflated price to meet demand. He insists his company lost money despite the fact that they're sending out sky-high bills to customers. In other news now, it was the winter of their discontent. Last year, thousands of you complained after getting electric bills that doubled, tripled, even quadrupled. And today, one of the most criticized companies agreed to give money back.
$2.74.
Last winter, we met lots of customers like Esther Keeney from Dillsburg, who was promised cheaper electric bills on the phone by a Pennsylvania Gas and Electric salesman. She signed up for a variable rate, and her typical $20 a month electric bill jumped to $275.
I hate them. I shouldn't say that, but they took me.
Pennsylvania Gas and Electric will now be giving $2.3 million in refunds after a settlement with the Attorney General and the Consumer Advocate. That's on top of $4.5 million the company's already given back for not properly disclosing to customers what could happen with variable rates.
This is a significant refund that will be going back to customers, and it is a relatively unique situation.
Customers will be notified if they're eligible for a refund. Don't call them, they'll call you. Esther, after our story, got $177 back.
And if I can get some money back, I deserve it.
A year ago this month, PG&E President Doug Marcel came to Harrisburg from Florida to talk to lawmakers. His company, in terms of complaints, was one of the worst offenders. He blamed the polar vortex and runaway costs.
We did not price gouge. Price gouging is making a profit on an extreme set of circumstances. We actually lost money. We charged, in some cases, 30, and we were paying 40.
And now PG&E's paying more. The horrors of last winter were not repeated this year, and the Consumer Advocate hopes most customers learned to stick with fixed.
The variable rate is not a product for most residential consumers. It has a lot of risk to it, not for the faint of heart.
Now, again, if you're due a refund, they will contact you. There are potentially 4 other companies that will be settling. Those cases are still pending. For 18 months, PA Gas and Electric can only offer fixed-rate contracts in the state.